E aí pessoal, beleza? Bom, hoje tô aqui, né, para mais um vídeo da série de Genshin Impact. Vamos continuar, né? Se você quiser ver essa série desde o início, eu vou deixar um card aqui em cima. E, se puder, se inscrever no canal e ativar o sininho, ajuda demais, beleza? Né? Eu fiz algumas missões, né? E peguei umas dicas que vocês me deram, que é o seguinte. Primeiro deixa eu pegar isso aqui. Olha só, o pessoal me falou sobre isso aqui, ó, que eu comprei um pouquinho hoje. É algumas coisas aqui de esse pó de azote, né? E tem um outro item também, só que o outro item eu não comprei. O outro item eu já tinha. Aí o que eu fiz? Não sei se tá por aqui o item. Eu vim aqui, ó. E vim aqui. Tá vendo? Eu posso trocar os itens. Tipo, se eu tiver muito item verde, quiser trocar por outro, talvez eu queira vermelho, coisa assim, tá vendo? Eu posso fazer a conversão aqui, gastando esse pó que eu comprei. O que é bem interessante. Mas eu comprei 60, né? E não gastei. Agora, isso aqui eu gastei, ó. Tá vendo? Eu tenho 5. Eu tinha mais disso aqui. Não comprei, deve ser recompensa de alguma missão que eu consegui. Gastei porque eu tava precisando disso aqui, inclusive, ó. Certo? Tem os outros que eu preciso também, mas ainda não consegui. Certinho. Então o que eu fiz? Olha só. Fiz a troca ali. E... peraí. E agora, se eu vier aqui na ficha, eu consigo evoluir o dela. Olha como é que eu peguei. Tá vendo? Eu tô com 10, ó. Eu tava sem nenhum. Então, a gente pode evoluir um aqui. O outro não vai dar. Ou será que dá? É o da harpa ali. Vamos ver se dá pra fazer. O da harpa. Ó. Eu vou precisar de mais, então faz tudo aí. Transforma aqui, né? E aqui também. Pronto. É isso. Então, valeu por essa dica aí. De poder trocar os itens, né? Trocar os itens. Aprimora aqui. E agora... não dá. Preciso de mais livros, né? É isso. Tá tudo 8. Já os outros ainda não dá pra fazer muita coisa, não. Eu joguei hoje contra os chefes semanais, né? Ó, ele aqui até dá por esse item, mas o outro ali não dá. E eu não vou ter o suficiente para evoluir, não, pode ter certeza. Beleza? Então, vamos seguir. Valeu por essa dica. Devo usar no futuro mais vezes, né? Vamos lá, hoje nós vamos iniciar mais uma missão. Exatamente, no vídeo passado terminamos a missão lendária do Kamisato Ayato, né? Terminamos a missão dele. E hoje vamos desbloquear essa daqui, ó, do Kaedehara, né? Kazuha, perfeito? Vamos aceitar a missão. Pronto. Uma estrada estranha e hostil. Sobre a planície, uma sombra roxa. Vá à planície de Byako. Você e Paimon chegam à planície durante sua jornada. Bora. Esse cara, eu acho que a gente encontrou ele. Não foi ele que estava dentro do navio da Beidou? Tinha Beidou e mais um cara. Eu acho que era esse cara, não sei não. Mas eu lembro de um pouco dele. Vamos agora na missão lendária dele. Vamos lá. Tá aí, ó. Vamos seguir pra lá. E aí, cara, tudo bom? Os caras vão enfrentar aqui. Eu vou enfrentar porque dropam uns itens bons aí. O Oswald, ele meio que dá conta de quase tudo. Tentar carregar ele de novo. Solidify. Carregou. Cadê a recompensa? Aqui. Outra coisa importante eu falei sobre o item que eu ia comprar, né? Que eu comprei hoje. Lá, o pó lá, né? No caso, agora eu só devo comprar depois que eu comprar isso aqui tudo, tá? Ó. Tem isso aqui tudo pra gente comprar. Tô sem moeda. Devo comprar isso aqui primeiro pra depois gastar lá, se é que eu vou gastar esse mês ainda lá. Vamos lá. Eu comprei pouco, gastei pouco pra comprar aquilo ali. 60, gastei um pouquinho só. Vamos lá. Verdade. Um piscar de olhos. É. Espere. E lá. Cuidado. Treta? Atacante repentino. O jogo tá dando umas travadinhas. Na verdade, ele tá dando umas travadas brutas. De vez em quando, só daqui a pouco vai parar, tá bom? Afinal, você não tem uma visão.
Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
Tá. É isso aí.
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kazuha?
Conheço, e a espada sua aí, cara. Tá maluco aí. Esse cara tá possuído pela espada. Na verdade é essa.
He carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animal vision.
Por que você está à procura dele?
That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
Por que ele tá caçando ele? Não faz sentido. Um louco de pedra. É raro ver você tão esperta, Paimon. Que? De vez em quando só. Na verdade, tenho uma ideia. Acho que esse cara pode ter uma conexão especial com Kazuha. Embora seja apenas um sentimento vago, seus movimentos são um pouco semelhantes ao de Kazuha. É ele mesmo, Frota Crux é lá no navio, né? Vamos lá. Vamos para Ritou. Inclusive eu pesquei. Eu tenho que ir lá no central de pesca lá em Mondstadt para comprar uns itens, né, que eu peguei uns peixes. Tchau.
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after all.
Também.
Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time, as soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd. If it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beidou had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention.
É realmente o Kazuha é o cara lá da Beidou mesmo. Cara, que batalha, cara.
Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
Oh, so you still don't know what he did?
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi.
Ai, tá falando do... Batalha, eu lembro aí. Ele tinha contado uma história pra nós, antiga. O Kazuha. Aí meio que essa história acabou se tornando realidade com ele mesmo, né? Usando lá a visão contra Shogun Raiden. A missão foi top, essa missão aí. Protegeu nós. Foi bruto.
Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be?
É. Você poderia comparar com a técnica que a Beidou usou para derrotar o Aishan.
Really? Wow. When you put it like that, it all makes sense. He was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryou Commission. They said they had something important. I thought they'd come to arrest him at first. Turns out they couldn't have been friendlier to him. Seems like they really respect the guy.
Just a little while ago, this would have been completely
Talvez o
unimaginable.
Shogunato também gostaria de mostrar gentileza. Afinal, a mentalidade da Shogun Raiden também mudou.
Thank you. Guess we'll go pay a visit to the...
All right then. I'll just stay here and...
Vamos lá. O caso, eu lembro depois do que ele falou aí, eu lembro ainda mais dos feitos dele, né? Inclusive, acho que esse feito é numa missão de Arconte, né? A gente estava na missão de Arconte, né? E ele segurou o ataque da Shogun, parceiro. O cara é bruto. Vai até a comissão Tenryou. Será que eu vou encontrar o... Mas se bem que o Kamisato Ayato não é aqui, não é? Acho que é. Ou não? Acho que ele tava aqui, ó. Olha ele ali, quer dizer... Ah, é esse cara aqui, ó. O que foi... poupado. Esse cara aqui, né? Foi poupado pela Shogun Raiden. A gente fez uma missão com ele agora há pouco. E o casamento ainda deu ruim. Aí tá aqui o Kazuha. Sou eu, sim.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation. We invited Mr. Kaidahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the Shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, I've been granted the chance to... The Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolve. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaidahara name. Regarding the history of the Kaidahara clan, I trust that you're already...
Mais ou
In
menos.
short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the Shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional blade forging arts of the Almighty Shogun. The Kaidahara clan belonged to this class.
Entendi.
But
Era
there
um
came a time
ferreiro.
when some of these
Clã
bladesmiths
ferreiro, tá
revolted
ligado?
and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaidahara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight and entered a period of great turmoil. We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaidahara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaidahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements,
É uma
but also
recompensa
receive recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in
justa
the past.
pelo que ele fez. Recompensa
In
justa
the
pelo que ele
interest of
fez aí.
preventing further harassment of the bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you can understand why this was necessary.
Mas tem um cara seguindo ele aí com uma espada aí maluca, hein, cara.
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the... However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture...
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injustice.
Daqui a pouco vai ter missão pra ele fazer. Você vai ver?
With the Kaidahara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaidaharas will be bladesmiths once more. And you will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City with the Almighty Shogun's blessing and full support of the Shogunate.
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall wall. Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaidahara, and the art of blade making for which it stood.
I sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulate.
Malicious rumors? All we heard on the way here was so much praise ways that we almost wonder.
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaedahara really
Falou
parried
que
the
eu
Shogun's
vi, meu filho, eu
strike.
vi.
Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaedahara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail.
That is correct. However, to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements at once is a more inconceivable notion.
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or stardom. But perhaps if the shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this situation...
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought. It stands...
Please, in fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment.
Tá bom, então.
Well then,
Tem
what
cara
brings the
correndo
two
atrás
of you
do
here?
Yikes! We nearly forgot about.
É isso aí. Tem cara te procurando aí. O cara
Why
tá
would
nervoso.
such a dangerous individual be looking for me?
Você tem colegas do clã?
No. This puzzles me as much. My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality. Over time, these techniques came to form something of a Kaedahara sword art. Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle.
All the more reason to watch your back. This guy was a serious nutcase.
Indeed.
Esquisitão mesmo.
He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets...
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to...
Thank you. I must say, I am now very curious about this matter. I will first join the Traveler in investigating the one who attacked him, then give you...
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
Vamos lá. Esse cara é meio esquisitão.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town. Let's see what Ryuji has to say.
Bora, vamos lá. Pelo menos já avisamos ele e já tá, né, sabendo. Ele é forte, então... Tipo, se tiver uma luta dele com aquele cara lá, ele vai ganhar de boa. Ele vai ganhar de boa. Vou teleportar pra cá pra ser mais rápido. Vamos lá. Inclusive eu tenho que ir, mano. Nas estátuas aqui de Inazuma, que talvez dá pra evoluir elas. Peça informações. E aí, cara, você tem informações?
Hey there! We'd like to ask, do you know if anyone around here has been...
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaide.
É, ele é bruto.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. Mr. Kaedahara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaedahara's personal information.
Tipo, eu tô pensando aqui, aquele soldado que tá querendo batalhar contra o cara aí, ele deve que ficou sabendo que o Kazuha bloqueou o ataque da Shogun Raiden e deve ter pensado, esse cara é um oponente top, vou lá enfrentar ele pra ver se eu sou bom mesmo. Talvez tá querendo se testar. Será?
Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them.
Millions? Of Mora?
Please, accept my thanks for looking out for my privacy.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't... Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for me, but I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any The Tenryou Commission had very few leads, and I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryo Commission would absolutely get in.
Uh-oh. Looks like the trail's already...
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble. Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now.
Bom, querendo ou não, é um elogio pra gente, né?
I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me.
Muito obrigado.
It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose them. For the poor victim, this would be...
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaidehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow man is what drove you to fearlessly raise your blade against the almighty Shogun.
You flatter me. Truth be told,
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. Let me tell you about it just in case.
sure. During time...
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from this. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Nagato é o nome de lateral japonês que bate falta.
Amanoma. Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smithy. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases
cara
are
que
likely
desapareceu.
connected, but I don't know much in the way of details.
O cara que desapareceu é dono de uma... Ele é ferreiro, é isso? Igual a família do Kazuha. Será que o cara capturou pensando que era o Kazuha ou a família dele?
I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is...
Understood, though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to
Vamos
attack me.
considerar isso um favor? Vamos investigar os 2 incidentes.
Sure, can't hurt. We never...
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at...
Sounds good. All the best with your...
Vamos lá. É aqui do lado.
Okay, okay.
Ok. E aí, meu parceiro?
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha.
Huh? You 2 know each other?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been
Os
deep
dois são
links
ferreiros.
between the 2 clans.
São clãs ferreiros, assim falam. Eu sei.
After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects.
Raiden Gokaden.
Let me quickly explain. The Raiden Gokaden was the collective term for the 5 most acclaimed bladesmithing arts in Inazuma.
Entendi.
The techniques of blade making were personally bequeathed to the Raiden Gokaden by the almighty Shogun, and over time, further honed and enhanced by the most talented craftsmen.
Tá.
Unfortunately, a series of events led to the gradual decline of many clans in the bladesmithing trade. Today,
So sad.
It is a great pity indeed. In the old days, as an example, the Amenoma art strives. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in and day out, until both body and mind. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin.
that's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind, for only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but you are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the...
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments. But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is
Ah, yes. My nephew. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. But I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know any?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato. After that, the next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse. And neither of them came
Incêndio?
back. Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was...
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may...
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up.
Deve ser aquela que o soldado tá segurando.
He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. Absolutely
Eu
impossible.
acho que ele foi possuído pela espada,
Yuya
tô
is not
falando.
that kind of person. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal.
Is that...
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, but with that said, it's equal. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced. Anyway, should you find him, please...
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us
Também
as well.
preciso de informações do lado de Nagato.
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two men... Let's pay a visit to the Nagato house.
Bora. Aqui que é em cima a gente pode voar. Eu tenho que falar os nomes japoneses de forma certa, né? Tipo, não é Nagato, é Nagato. É sempre a primeira sílaba, né? Que é tipo a mais forte, digamos assim. Sei lá, tipo. Não é Yuzu. Talvez Iuzu ou Iuzu. Não sei. Deixa eu ver outro nome aqui. Não é Yukio. Ou é Yukio ou Yukio. Talvez. Eu não sei se é isso que eu entendi não. Furuya. Noboru. Furuya, sei lá. Tô falando errado talvez. Mas é, sabe. As primeiras sílabas são as mais fortes, podemos dizer assim. Ou eu entendi errado. Sashiko, tá vendo? Não é Sashiko, é Sashiko, né? Nagato, Sashiko. É mulher? E mulher? É que tem um lateral com esse nome aí. Não Sashiko, né? Então acho que não é Nagato Sashiko. É Nagato Sashiko. Eu tenho que falar direito, mas eu
I'm
esqueço.
very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now.
Tá.
My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collector... I'm sorry
sure.
you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new...
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still with this in mind. Can we...
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand what...
That's a long story. Ever since he'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, everything was fine when we first got married. But as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring his weapons, even his debt collect. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him. But making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it so many times,
Negócio de
but
ficar
he
olhando
never
pra espada
listens.
aí, não. Tá, tem coisa naquela espada
On the
lá.
last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts.
Whoa!
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debt... After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family?
Tá certo.
Had I not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves and I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses, or if he... The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had...
I see. Ame no Yuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale of...
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument, but my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe he was feeling the
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned down. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire, and he's got no way to pay off our debts. Even though I'm still a little mad at him, we're a family, and I want us to... As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things out.
Please don't get upset. There could be... If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, it is... But the information we gathered from the other side suggests Ame no Yuya is also a mild-mannered man who would...
A little confusing. More like...
Let's try a change of scenery. And rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything.
Thank you so much.
Coletamos muitas informações.
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their The fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, Paimon was thinking that... Nope,
Pode
never mind.
acontecer, ué.
Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
Não, mas pode ter acontecido isso aí também, ué. Talvez tenha havido uma disputa. O fogo pode ter sido usado para esconder a verdade. Ainda faltam informações. Talvez o cara não queria vender. Aí tacou fogo em tudo. Que o cara era viciado em colecionar. Não dá pra saber ainda não, cara.
Right. I very much agree with you. It seems highly likely that working off what we know so far, there are too many things that... The chances are that there are still some clues. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Ame no Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato, being heavily in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive to disappear. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened
Quanto ao atacante também não entendo.
Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no other details that we've learned seem to... Ame no Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker. Namely, that he is principally a practitioner of the blade...
Darn! We thought we could get two birds with one stone here, but at this rate, it's starting to look like a one...
Let's keep going, since we've come this far. If we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some...
Okay, but we...
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's...
Vamos ver o armazém queimado. Vamos ver como é que tá lá, mano. Posso ter pista lá, com certeza. Com certeza não, né? Existe a possibilidade de... Vamos ver.
Wait.
Que?
I hear something ominous in the wind.
É o cara que vai te pegar, cara.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds
É o
that
cara da
only you,
espada.
as sketchy as that whole thing seems. You did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament.
É realmente
so-
confiável.
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the
É
scent.
ele.
But there's nothing here.
É a Paimon que tá cheirando.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in.
O louco parece um cachorro.
It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. The remnants of the Tatarigami.
Tatarigami.
Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy, we should remain vigilant and approach.
O cara é um cachorro ambulante.
So it's an underground...
The force is definitely coming from the source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place. But the residue it left behind still hasn't dissipated completely.
A fumaça aí.
Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami
Ninguém
energy at that
percebeu
time.
isso.
From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys, but most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he...
So what should we do now? Go down and take a look?
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside.
É
If we
perigoso.
don't open this door, we can move no closer to the truth. You needn't worry. Both of us have faced far greater dangers than this.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't... It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
Não sei se isso é bom ou ruim.
That was too scary. Paimon was so sure that the warehouse bug...
All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy's source left this place. Two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them.
Vamos dar uma
Yes,
olhada.
let's go. If nothing else, quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you.
O cara é um cachorro. Siga o cheiro. Olha. O louco. Bom, tá marcando o mapa ali já, né?
From this point, the trail appears to split into two. The main source
Sim.
of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here and seems to
É
be
verdade,
dissipating slowly.
os dois que desapareceram.
Quite possible.
Aí, ó. Siga o cheiro para encontrar pistas. Vamos para cá.
Look at all those hilly churls. They're acting really strangely.
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look.
Solidify!
Estavam cavucando.
By royal decree... Frying pan into the fire.
Gather!
Mas
Midnight Phantasmagoria. Everybody stand back.
I will have order!
boom, né?
Let's light it up.
Estavam cavando ali.
It's...
É o quê?
Ugh! Look at this red stuff!
By the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink is bone dry. Well, let's take a look.
Me chamo Nagato, fui ferido pelo Amenoma. Nagato, vou falar direito. Ele foi ferido pelo cara mesmo, ó. Ele levou minha preciosa lâmina. Corri atrás dele, mas não consegui pegá-lo. Estou deitado descansando por conta da minha exaustão. Achei que morreria aqui mesmo. Meu estômago não parava de sangrar. Mas parece que um estranho poder tem me mantido. Por que ele quer roubar minha lâmina? Eu disse que venderia para ele, mas ele incendiou meu armazém. Que dor! Mas não posso desmaiar. Só me resta escrever essas coisas para me distrair. O que vai acontecer com Sashiko, Yuji, Yuji? Sinto muito por eles. Realmente sinto. Apenas agora percebo como fiquei preso em meus hábitos e como fui cego à minha obsessão. Devo ter sido amaldiçoado. Coletei todas essas coisas estranhas e bizarras, mas elas não me deram nada em troca. Nem um pingo de felicidade ou ternura. Colocando tudo junto, e ainda assim não teria valido uma só palavra de sua boca. Não teria válido, né? Obrigado e desculpe te desapontar. Então, o cara foi atacado mesmo. Pelo jeito ele morreu, hein? Parece que ele morreu. Vamos ver. Não dá pra saber se ele morreu ou não, mas do jeito que tá, ele tá ferido, né?
According to this letter, a conflict arose because Amenoma Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could.
So, where is...
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of
O que eu pensei,
monsters.
cara?
Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls.
Peça a comissão
nothing more
Tambem
for us
para
to
realizar
find here.
pesquisas. Ah, mais uma coisa importante.
Yes. Right now, we need to uncover some more. If Amenoma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him...
Right! So let's get moving!
Por que ele ficou
I
assim?
wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to the For a practitioner of the martial arts, the easiest desire to inflame would be their pursuit of further... All the clues that at first seemed disparate. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only...
Wait! You figured it out? So these two cases...
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. I will only be on with the search. We must stay vigilant.
O cara morreu. Tem que falar pra mulher. Tem que falar pra mulher o que aconteceu. Continue procurando pistas seguindo o cheiro. Olha, vamos pra... Eu já fui nessa... Não me lembro. Acho que eu já vi nessa ilhazinha.
He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
E ele usou o barco? É isso?
Why here? Is there anything special?
I'm not sure. But on closer...
Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
Ele achou alguma coisa, hein? Deve ser o cara da espada, quer ver?
Kaidehara Kazuha. It's
Ele
you,
mesmo.
at last.
Você matou aquele cara e roubou a espada.
Aha! What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have...
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. But what if instead of facing Amenoma Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
O cara está possuído pela espada.
Now that you mention it, it is giving off a strange... Whoa! Surely...
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects. Then the blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state, or rather, as a means to occupy
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced many years ago I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition.
Espada famosa da arte Ishin.
In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams.
A arte Ishin, que é a arte criada pelo clã dele, né?
As a descendant of the Kaidahara clan, you should be able to guess our great...
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, he not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with in her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also in
So... swords?
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a shot. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the I seek but one thing. To face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power, the might of Ishin art.
Não posso falar muita coisa, que eu não sei se vai ser mais forte que a espada da Shogun Raiden, não sei.
So Amenoma Yuya was not your first fit. Tell me,
Eu
what
que falou, né,
happens to those you've possessed?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools
Ih,
that
deve ter
serve my
morrido
men.
tudo.
When they got tired or injured or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're awful!
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse. At long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenoma Yuya's body, I have found you. And by your
Cara,
hand,
você não vai
I shall
não.
Kaidahara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come.
Realmente, ele está possuído pela espada. E a espada aqui é um desafio. Mano, a gente adivinhou praticamente. Só que, no caso, ele quer um novo hospedeiro. O hospedeiro mais forte, que no caso é o Kazuha ali, né? Mas tipo, a gente praticamente adivinhou. Quase adivinhou 100%. Quase 100%. Né?
Now, give your body over to me.
Eu não achei que seria pra possuir o corpo dele. Eu achei que era só pra se provar, sabe? Então, cara. Vamos lá. Temos esse. Temos esse. Temos esse. E vamos de casa, né? Ô louco, ele voou. Foi bem rápido, meu parceiro. Foi bem rápido. Então, eu te enfrentei 2 vezes e você perdeu pra mim.
Your bluff's fooling no one.
É.
You've lost.
Lost? I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man.
Faz
He's
sentido.
but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will.
Então vou te destruir.
The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. And even if I were to lose my physical form, it is but a small setback. By any means necessary.
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art. But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance. As well,
Really? You can tell.
as I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art. Since the blade is currently possessing Amenoma Yuya's body, its movements express the... If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate single...
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin Art's secrets. The little that you know barely in that regard. Why would I ever need...
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can... Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now...
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato...
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his collectibles did you finally have an opportunity.
And what of it?
Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a despair in you. You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand, and I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your... But the way I see it, what began as an ambition...
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away from achieving my...
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you commit, even if you were to sever that divine light. Is this truly the outcome that
You...
Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the one... How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect...
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought into
Cara,
being.
você não conseguiu vencer nós, cara. Você quer enfrentar a Shogun mesmo? Você vê que eu sou mais forte que a Shogun, né? A verdade é essa.
I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me... I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not... It is pointless to argue further. Descendant of the Kaidahara clan. If you wish to save
O Lucas
this
me
man,
assustou mesmo, hein?
then offer me
Se não
your
der o
body
corpo,
in
vai matar o
exchange.
cara aqui, ó. O hospedeiro aqui.
How stubbornly you stick. I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet.
What? Surely you're not planning to agree to his demand.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release...
I accept.
Ganhamos já. É. Bom, é arriscado que vai que ele não consegue se controlar o Kazuha. Não sei
This
não.
is the only way to save Amenoma Yuya. If we don't do this, he'll forever be the blade. The cursed blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests his heart is still not The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato and Amenoma Yuya fell prey to it. Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me.
Eu acabo com você, tá bom?
We have a chance here
Preocupa
to
não que eu vou
save an
acabar com
innocent
vocês
victim.
errado.
I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
Não, eu posso impedir sim. Cara, você sabe que você pode impedir? Você é forte. Tudo bem.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things now. Take me in your hand.
Vamos ver se ele vai resistir.
Kazuha?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but it's all right. So far, this was as I expected.
Avise-me imediatamente se sentir que algo está errado.
I will.
What should we do next? Have you...
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced... If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter a state of harmony between blade and bearer, if he wants to avoid reality, then we need to fight until he has no choice but to face it. He shouldn't last long in an
Wait a a minute. Paimon remembers hearing about something since the Takasukasa clan abandoned that secret base. It's been held by Ronin ever
É um lugar
since.
apropriado para testes.
All right.
What about Amenoma Yuya?
The blade says he'll let Amenoma Yuya trail us silently. Although he hasn't regained his own consciousness yet.
Are we sure this is a good idea? It's okay, fine.
Bom, salvamos o cara ali. Um olhar para trás, vá para o local de teste. Então ele deixou ser, digamos, possuído pela espada, né? Para testar, para ver se a espada é boa mesmo. Para ver, talvez tem chance contra Shogun Raiden, né? Mas é isso. Próximo vídeo a gente segue então, tá bom? É isso, a gente segue na missão no próximo vídeo. O vídeo ficou até um pouco mais longo, né? Boa noite aí, Glenn. É nóis. Bom, galera, espero que vocês tenham gostado, né? Tudo na paz de Deus. É nóis, né? Feliz ano novo a todos aí, tá? Eu mandei feliz ano novo no post da comunidade, mas em vídeo não falei, né? Então, feliz ano novo. O ano seja top de linha, valeu? E é isso. Só falta derrotar o Shogun. Ah, aqui tá falando do Shadow Fight Shades, né? É isso, valeu pela presença, muito obrigado. Amanhã a gente segue, tá bom? Muito obrigado. Puder deixar o like, muito obrigado. E até o próximo vídeo.